If you guys have played 2K23, you guys probably already know how overpowered rim running and ISO is in this game. See, most builds can shoot and slash, which means you can't just play up on someone and you also just can't sit in the paint. Listen, if you've been struggling to guard ISO and guard rim running, this video is going to be a perfect video to watch. I've pretty much perfected defense on this game so far, on both current gen and next gen. I'd even go to say a lot of people on next gen. This is for all of you guys. Next gen defense is a lot easier than current gen defense. Current gen defense, players are faster on current gen. It's much harder to stop rim running and stop ISO on current gen. But everything I say in this video, all these tips I give you in this video, they're going to work whether you're on current gen or whether you're on next gen. The only really difference is the speed of the game, so it's going to be a little harder on current gen, but all these tips are going to apply to both generations. And in order to prove that I know what I'm talking about when it comes to defense, when it comes to guarding ISO, I just want you guys to see my win percent on this game. Now, this is on current gen. On next gen, it's looking very, very similar. Current gen, 99% of my games are on the 1v1 court, which is all ISO, and pretty much 90% of the people on that court just rim run. So clearly I know what I'm talking about when it comes to defense, when it comes to getting stops, and when it comes to winning on this game. But in today's video, I'm gonna break down literally everything there is about defense and go in depth about everything you should be doing in order to get more stops and in order to be able to guard rim running and ISO on this game. That includes builds, badges, settings, and even actual tips and tricks, things you should be doing within the game itself. There's so many simple things that could literally only take you a few games to get used to, and these are habits that will help you get so many more stops on defense. But hey, I don't want to be going on for the entire video, just doing the intro. So if you're new around here, make sure to hit that sub button, make sure to subscribe. We are on this road to 100K subscribers. It'd be greatly, really appreciated if y'all can smash that sub button, as well as if this video helps. I know it's going to help out a lot of people because, you know, rim running is pretty prevalent this year. It's very, very hard to stop, and I got y'all with the tips today. So make sure to drop a like on this video, would be greatly, greatly appreciated. And with all that being said, make sure to watch this video all the way through so you don't miss it, and let's hop straight into it. All right, look, so I want to talk about the builder first, or just your build in general, and then we'll go into badges and I'll show you guys some settings, and finally I'll show you guys tips and tricks in game in order to pretty much get a stop every single time against this rim running. It's really not that hard to guard once you figure it out. But anyway, you can see my defense right here. The most important stats for defense this year are interior defense, steal, and block. Steal can be really, really good. Me personally, I only have a 59. It's not the most amazing steal rating. I'm not really getting that many, but if you have like 80s, 90s steal, it's going to be a really, really useful thing to do. And you should be spamming your X button a lot because steals are super overpowered this year. But obviously, when we're talking about rim running, we're talking about ISO, interior defense, and block are going to be the most important things. Now, I do get the occasional chase down blocks, which is why I have my block rating. But really, the main thing you're going to need is interior defense. You're going to want to have this high. And if you have like a 30 interior defense, that build might just need to go because you're not getting a single stop with 30 interior defense. Interior defense, if you do not have this stat right here, you're just gonna get babied in the paint. But yeah, obviously the first step in order to play way better defense is to have a build that's better at defense. If your build is absolutely trash at defense, obviously you're not going to be a good defender. Now listen, the next most important thing is going to be your badges. Make sure you have the right badges on. Now, in order to stop a lot of rim running, a really, really good badge to have on is anchor. It's basically rim protector from previous years. It's going to help you get more blocks, but another thing it does is it gives you a lot of different animations just around the basket in general, a lot of body up animations, a lot of that stuff. So it's going to help you to keep your opponent out of the paint, which is one of the most crucial things to stop rim running and to play defense in this game. Another badge you're going to want is clamps. Put this on the highest level you can. It's just going to make your player a lot more bumpy. It's going to let it stay in front of the person dribbling a lot easier. So make sure you have clamps on. Now, this doesn't really apply to rim running, but if you are trying to guard post scores or anything like that, I run at least bronze post lockdown. It helps a little bit when post scores are trying to like baby you, and it's definitely worth it. Now me, I use rebound chaser, but obviously that doesn't really matter for defense. I'm just going over my badges right here. I use rebound chaser gold. Challenger is another good badge, not necessarily for rim running, but just a good badge to have on in general for defense. And finally, you're definitely going to want to have chase down artist on. Chase down is super, super important. You're not getting too many of these blocks, but you will definitely get the occasional chase down block in order to chase down that person rim running, especially, you know, if you're playing someone that's not even trying to shoot at all. If they're just trying to rim run, chase down is going to be a super good badge. And finally, the last badge, Menace. Menace is a super good badge. If you're in front of your opponent, it literally drops their attributes. It's a super good badge for defense. Definitely run Menace. But look, these are my defensive badges that I personally run, and these are the main ones I would recommend you run as well. If you're a guard and have a higher steal, you can also run Glove. Glove is super good. It's basically like Pickpocket. It's gonna let you get a bunch of steals. There's one more quick thing I want to hop into, and then I'll show you guys some gameplay and go over a few things you should be doing when you're actually playing the game. All right, look, so for this next setting, you're gonna want to have to go to the features on the main menu. You have to go back to the main menu for these couple settings right here. They're gonna be in controller settings, and there's a few different ones you're gonna want to change. The first one scrolling down right here is going to be your double team reaction. Now, this doesn't necessarily apply to guarding ISO or anything like that, but it's just a helpful thing to have, and it applies to defense. So if I'm gonna put it in any video, it's gonna be this one, because this video is going over defense. Putting this on manual, when you hold LB and also when your teammate holds LB on a ball handler, anyone dribbling, it's gonna put them in a trapper animation and basically make them turn over the ball. This isn't really anything too important, but if you have it on manual, it's just gonna help you get a few extra stops here and there. So I would definitely put it on manual. Now, the next thing, the absolute most important thing, or there's actually a few most important things here. One, pro stick defense on absolute. It's automatically on absolute, just keep it on. Huda guard, I like to have my Huda guard on. You can turn this off if you want, but I personally like to have it on. And finally, these two settings right here are super important. Now, by default, this is 0 and this is 50. Now, the box out assist strength doesn't matter that much, too much. I would just keep it at 50. However, I was messing around with this defensive assist with Intense D earlier, and it changes every year what the best one is. But I noticed when I have this on 0, my player feels really sluggish. Like when they go and rim run, I feel really slow turning. I feel really slow to stay in front of them. So I bumped this up to 25, and it actually felt like it made a difference. When they went to drive, I was expecting it. I was able to turn more quickly, stay with them a little bit better. And you could try putting this higher, but me personally, I like to put it on 25. Because if you go too high with this, your player will slide around a lot, and it'll feel like you're really not controlling him a lot, because the assist is so high when you're playing defense. You want this in like a middle ground. 25 to 30 is going to be good for this setting. All right, and moving into the final tips and tricks, the final part of this video. Now that we've kind of broken down your build, badges, attributes, settings, everything like that, I want to just give you guys a few tips and tricks right here I personally use when I'm playing 2K in order to get a bunch of stops on ISO. So number one of the most important things I would say to do, give your guys some space, especially on next gen. Current gen, pretty much everyone I can say can shoot. Next gen, you're gonna play people that just can't shoot at all. And me, also someone who ISOs, I notice it a lot. People often just guard me when I feel like I would just miss the shot if they just left me open. So I know it kind of sounds counterintuitive, but sometimes people really just can't shoot on this game. And to give them even just a little bit of space, you don't just have to go sit directly in the paint. You don't have to just let them shoot, but play them a few steps more back than you normally would. Now, not only is this gonna help you not get beat to the basket, it's also gonna make them question what they have to do. When you're playing back, it's gonna be easier for you to stop the rim run. So they have to question a lot what they're gonna do. They're gonna be questioning if they can take the 3 this play, if they're still trying and rim run even though you're gonna be there. Playing someone back a little bit is going to help you get so many more stops immediately. Now, the next tip I have for you guys on defense is never run side to side. And what I mean by this is, obviously, if the person is dribbling to the right, you're gonna want to go to the right. But let's say you know this person is gonna rim run, they're doing the little zigzag, they're gonna rim run. Instead of running and following them, meet them at the basket. So for example, let's say I have the ball at the top of the key and they run right and they're rim running. Instead of me following them and also going slightly to the right, I'm just gonna run directly back to the paint and meet them at the paint. This allows you to beat them to the spot. It's gonna make them get out of stamina, and once they're out of stamina in the paint or out of adrenaline boost, they really can't do anything. They're not gonna be able to go out and shoot again. But if you're always playing like this kind of high-low style of defense instead of this left-right, your defense is going to improve a lot and it's gonna be a lot better. And a few last kind of tips and tricks I have for you guys right here. One of them going to be steals. Now, I don't go for a lot of steals, like I said, because my steal rating is not too high. But if you have a high steal rating, steals are super overpowered and you can go for a ton of them. Anytime someone gets the rebound, they're trying to dribble out and you got the little red ring around the court. And this next thing kind of ties back into the first thing I said. If you are playing someone that's rim ran like 3 times in a row for the first 3 possessions of the game, they most likely do not want to shoot at all. Like, they don't want to shoot. And even if you think, like, if you're letting them stand wide open, oftentimes they will wait for you to like run at them, and then they will just rim run. So another good move is you can like fake run out of people and bait them into rim running, and you're still down there. So just take a step or two towards them, and then they'll think you're guarding the three-pointer, and then you could just run to the paint, guard their rim run, and it'll be perfect. And I actually just remembered one more thing. If you're in the paint, do not jump at all. This year, if you don't jump, you get a contest every time, and you're never going to get scored on if you just never jump. But listen, that's gonna be it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed this. Please use these defensive tips and tricks. These are literally the best in the game. A lot of people just won't even tell you these tips and tricks, but I use all of these things I said in this video. And like I mentioned in the intro, my win percent on this game is insane. I barely lose, and it's usually not because of what I can control. Occasionally they might make a contested layup or a bailout, and for the most part, if you just control what you can control, you're gonna win a lot of your games. But that's gonna be about it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. If you did, please be sure to drop a like. With all that being said, I'm out, man. Peace.